But digital transformation isn't a new concept.
Digital transformation. This is something that I think I've seen just everywhere for the last few years, and I think most organisations have either started or are in the process of, or whether they know it or not, have started a digital transformation process. But let's talk more specifically about some of the things that you need to be thinking about.
So, I mean, the first thing is, digital transformation has become one of those buzzword type things now. In much the same way that cyber became the catchy thing to talk about 10 years ago, and so on. But digital transformation isn't a new concept, and in fact, ever since I entered the workplace a long time ago,
it was long.
We have been on a pathway of digital transformation because our technology is continually evolving and transforming. So it first kind of got kicked into the common lexicon. Really what they were talking about was the adoption of cloud. And of course, alongside digital transformation became the other classic buzzword, cloud first, because of course, cloud. But what it really boils down to is not so much the language of digital transformation, because digital transformation is happening all the time. What it actually, the important part of getting digital transformation right is doing the right things at the right time. So we've worked in large transformational projects where, one of the ones we started 5 or 6 years ago, we were told this is going to be run in an agile environment. We're going to be using Sprint. We're going to be doing it this way. And you can't do security in an agile environment. You can't do assurance in an agile environment. You certainly can't do risk management in an agile environment. Well, they were wrong, because we did, and we can. And actually, here's the truth, we should always have been doing risk management in an agile environment, because doing a risk assessment once a year was counterintuitive when the risk was changing all the time.
Yes.
So, inevitably, digital transformation projects now will also run hand in hand with Agile as a project management methodology. That means that we're continually revisiting the product, and we're continually revisiting the output, and we're continually revisiting, if we get it right, the risk and the security testing. Which means we don't build something that takes 3 years to build and then find security dismantling it because we got it all wrong on day one.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is transformation. It's actually transforming the way in which we approach digital projects to make them iterative and a process of continual oversight and continual governance. And there's no better way of doing that than to embed it into the sprint cycle. So your definition of done, in addition to all the other things that goes alongside product development, for example, is going to include, has the product been through its security testing and has it been signed off in terms of the risk management? And that's if you're developing something within your sprint cycle. But equally, if you're looking at adopting somebody else's product, you want to be moving in the same way. I've seen organisations go out and radically overhaul their records management systems, only to find 3 years down the line they've implemented a system that's not fit for purpose because they didn't do as part of the user requirements and the user experience, they didn't also consider the data integrity. And remember, when we talk about information security, we're not just talking about the confidentiality element of it. There's data integrity, data quality, and they haven't considered that as an integral part of user interaction with the system. So 3 years down the line, the user goes, well, I can't even input the data right. Or we've set them up to fail because we've implemented a system that uses American date format instead of UK date format. Or we haven't put the right mechanisms in place so that if somebody makes a mistake, they can correct their mistakes the minute they identify that the mistake has happened. Or we go out and we buy a cloud solution, and 6 months after we implement it, we realise we forgot to tick the box that says keep the data in the EU instead of sending the data to the US. But if we get it right, because we involve the subject matter experts who have been there and done it and know the pitfalls, then actually we can learn from somebody else's mistakes, but also we can preemptively get it right.
It's simply good risk management, isn't it? Because it's putting in a lot of legwork at the beginning before you actually run off and start your project.
And dynamic, agile risk management as part of a business as usual process is far more impactful than simply refreshing a risk register once a year.
Yes. Heard it here first, folks.
Get it right. Get it right first time.